Remember to squeeze someone you love or hang out with Nick Black right now for the next 30 minutes. AICI. Talking about cryptocurrencies with Nick in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Squeeze someone you love. You know who did that?
Who did that, Nick?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, stop it.
Squeezed everyone he loved. The last one, the last squeeze. Just Oof. Go to sleep. Go to sleep, little fish, or whatever. I don't know if he had like a pet name. Man,
what's going on?
How are you doing? We haven't seen you in a week. How's it been?
Every time
How's the weather?
It's chilly. The air conditioning went off a week ago, and now I feel like the heat needs to go on. It happens like that in New York. It's like 80 down to 65, even 60. So all's good though. But I do feel like it's a long time every time we get back together. Now only with you once a week. I miss you. Brendan gets you all the time though. But I'm happy to grab some crypto knowledge from you while we're here.
People don't know you and I started. Well, I started working with you 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, it's been a while. I mean, we have something special here, Nick, I think. Yeah.
Word on the street is I wouldn't even be here at Money Morning were it not for you.
I don't think Money Morning would be here if we're not for me. Let's be honest. I mean, no, just joking.
You know, your best trait is your modesty.
I'm just totally kidding. But hey, Nick, what's going on your show today? What's the plan?
Well, at the American Institute for Crypto Investors, hope you have your whatever shirt and hat, like institute hat that you're supposed to have at an institute. We have a lot of crypto Q&A. We typically keep these sessions, the AICI sessions, more kind of engineered around questions that we get from the community. Now, really in-depth questions we go into it in the digital heavyweights, which is a much more specific thing. And we also have a full 24-hour a day Discord where people are always. So that's that. This is more kind of wide scope questions, 10,000 foot questions, things like that. So if you have a very specific question like, hey, how do I do this very super specific thing on this specific place because I posted my specific stuff in the wrong specific this or that, that's going to be a digital heavyweight type question. We want to help as many people as we can in the fewest amount of words here. That being said, why don't we take a quick look at markets that are pretty quiet and haven't done a whole lot. And just as you're looking at these markets and you're looking, you see a sea of red, as an owner of crypto assets, you might be like, nothing's going up. Well, how's that Dow doing for you? How's your S&P doing for you? How's your indexed in equities doing? How's all that? Nothing's doing nothing because you have a bunch of banks right now. Here's the macro picture if you want it. You have a crunch for liquidity. You have a crunch for collateral, a scramble for collateral. This all looks a lot like 2008. Is it the same? No. The reasons are different, but generally speaking, banks are stuck with pretty poor collateral, and they're kind of, there's a crunch for US dollars. So all of this Fed nonsense, it doesn't much matter. I was listening to Jeff Snyder yesterday, and he was saying he went back through all of the Fed rate hikes and Fed rate cuts, and if they had any effect on the dollar. No correlation, and mostly inversely correlated to what the Fed would have you believe they do. And this isn't just them. There's other central banks too, but it's mostly the Fed. And the reason is the disconnect in that the Fed doesn't do money and that other central banks do. The Fed's looking backwards. Most other central banks are trying to look forward. Oh, and by the way, the Fed's not a central bank. And when I say they don't do money, I don't mean that in kind of a a clever little dig against Jerome Powell. I mean, they're not money dealers. They don't do money. They don't make money. They don't distribute money. They distribute theater. And there's a portfolio effect to that. Now, that is somewhat correlated. So in the near term, when the Fed says we're going to do this or we're going to do that, the portfolio effect is that people behave and they go, oh, well, if this or if that. And that's because people don't look at math and numbers and, data. And if they did, they would go, oh, God, nothing they do is relevant. Now, it is what it is. Investing, like I say a lot, is a beauty pageant. We're not all at the beauty pageant to determine who's the prettiest contestant. We're all there trying to guess who everyone else is going to vote as the prettiest contestant and then front run that guess. That's investing. Part of it's greater fool, part of it's looking into the future, but it's a beauty pageant. So it's not always based on correctness and facts. Matter of fact, it's rarely based on correctness and fact. So you have to put your brain into two parts. One is, what is the data actually telling you? What do the numbers actually say? Where is money going? So you look at the bond market. You see, the people that actually study money in the inputs in the actual money, the amount of money. Like, everybody put your money on a table. What's actually happening? And then the other half of your brain has to be WWDD. Do you know what that is, Eric? I know the heavyweights know what this is.
WWDD. What would Danny do?
No.
David.
What would
Donald?
Well, maybe.
Who is it?
If they were all idiots, what would dummies do?
Dummies do. Oh, okay. Close.
What would Do Kwon do? Also, well stated, Emeg, well stated. What would dummies do? Because dummies run the market, and this is a reality. Don't think that because people have a lot of money that they are specifically intelligent or clever or all that creative. Most people get promoted in life to a position of greatest incompetence. Any of you that work in the corporate structure, just look at the people above you. Do you see a fair level of competency or incompetence? My guess is more of the latter. We all tend to get promoted to the position of greatest incompetence unless we're entrepreneurs. And then we promote beneath us people that are truly incompetent in order to squander whatever resources we've created. So the whole entire investment space right now is listening to some bankers scurry and try to do things that they can't possibly do and adjust things they can't possibly adjust for reasons they can't possibly fathom. So that leaves a lot of weirdness in the macro environment. You saw German bond yields, they have inverted. That's usually a sign of like financial Armageddon. It's only happened one other time ever. You want to know when that was, Eric? You want to take a guess?
Yeah, 1963.
Close, 2008.
Ooh. Oh, so close.
Yeah. Right. You guys saw that the pound hit its lowest point against the US dollar ever. That's not also so good. So a strong dollar is not good. These old curmudgeon-y Fox News, a strong dollar. No, strong dollar is bad. It's bad for companies that do business with the United States. It's bad for countries that have to hold dollars. It's bad for anybody that's pegged their currency to the dollar. It's bad everywhere you look. It's bad everywhere. It's a sign of a very dangerous economy, like worldwide economy. And that's what we're in. And the crypto space, if we look at the market cap, is very tiny. It's not even $1 trillion. There's at a minimum, if you count derivatives, real estate, everything, all the money and all of the money exposure and leverage and all that, there's somewhere between 1 and 4 quadrillion money units floating out there in dollar terms. And so you say, well, the crypto market's less than 1 trillion, less than either 1/1000th or less than 1/3500th of a percent, which is, so small. So when you're looking at the crypto space, you have to be looking into the future. You have to be looking very far forward, 3 to 5 years. You're making estimations that these early companies are going to build the foundation for whatever Web3 looks like, whatever a meta world looks like, meaning not Meta, the company, although they probably will be materially involved. But I mean like a metaverse type existence where we live in this kind of weird place that's a mixture of augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality, likely run on the back of AI, artificial intelligence, as we approach artificial general intelligence. So Benzo, what are the plays we need now to take advantage? How do I get them? Well, you're looking at them. It's a crypto space. There's 13,000 assets. And you have to go through those 13,000 assets, not all of them. I'd stick to the top, say 200. And you have to, if you want to, invest in assets that you think will meaningfully be a part and participate in whatever Web3 and this metaverse existence looks like. But know that we're marching towards it very fast. Tomorrow, do you know what happens? It's AI Day at Tesla. Do you know about that, Eric?
I didn't know that. Tell us more, or tell me more.
Do you know about Optimus?
I've heard of it. Optimus Prime.
Well, it's funny because there actually may be a version of Optimus, an upgraded version of Optimus called Optimus Prime. It's the humanoid robot that Tesla is going to be teasing tomorrow. The reason they kicked back AI Day, they postponed it until September 30th, is I think they want to march one of these T1000s out onto stage and have it walk around. I think there's also an upgraded version called Optimus Prime.
That sounds pretty exciting.
Silly. Yeah. It's going to be pretty cool. And we've talked a lot about this, in the heavyweights, about what that means for artificial intelligence, what that means for artificial intelligence tokens. So, Benzo, there's no easy answer, but what I would do is I would say you want to own some of the infrastructure in the future of Web3, the metaverse, and whatever the world looks like when humanoid robots and other interesting bits of software, yes, well put, Ryan, are the main part of the workforce. I don't know if people are doing the mental math. The main part of the workforce, not a part. Eric, can you describe your job to somebody like really well? Like, are you good at describing your job?
I have a difficult job to describe to people, but I think I've gotten decent at it over the years. Yeah, I can give them an idea. So they think they know what I actually do. Yeah.
Cool. Now, are there bits and pieces to your job that you can't quite explain?
Yeah, I mean, when I explain stuff, I leave out the boring parts of things, I will always want to sound more exciting than it actually is. Although it is a great job.
But if you had to, could you explain those boring parts to somebody?
Of course I could, yeah.
Yeah, a robot's going to do your job.
Uh-oh. That makes me nervous. How long do I have? I have to make some good crypto plays to...
I don't know. That's like telling someone how long grandma has.
Ooh. I heard she's not doing so well.
Well... The thing that the mental math that people aren't doing right now is that the robots, and I don't mean robots as in just physical robots, but I mean AI as it approaches AGI is going to dominate if you have a job that you can describe every aspect of your job, you ain't going to have a job. Because a piece of software is going to obviate you. It's going to make, no one wants to hear this crap, but it's the reality. You just won't exist in the job force because you won't be needed. And so start to think of a world where robots, and I mean robots meaning, not only physical robots, but pieces of software and the underlying AI tech is doing most everything. Where does that leave entrepreneurs? You're going to outthink a robot? Hey, Eric, you played any video games against the computer?
Yeah. I always win.
Do you?
Against the computer, yeah. I just can't beat these kids that are playing.
You said it on novice. Because if you put the computer on full expert mode, it will own you like it owns me every GD day, every time I play freaking Population 1, which, by the way, is super awesome.
That's a VR game you're playing, right?
It's awesome.
Yeah. See? That's why. That's the hard thing. I play Call of Duty. I always win.
Have you been playing the new one?
No, I haven't. It's in beta right now. But we don't want to get off task too much here, Nick. But yes.
I know.
It's a good one, though.
Yelled at.
Big announcement. Yeah.
Let me tell you, that new Call of Duty, it's
good.
So realistic. It's like being there.
And you've been there.
It's like being there. It's hauntingly like being there. Anyway, what I'm saying is, I think people should start imagining a world where in the future, most of the jobs that you see don't exist. And that in place of that is software or middleware. Getting rid of middlemen is what crypto originally tried to do. Let's get rid of middlemen. Let's ease frictions in the financial system. Let's replace those middlemen with bits of software, middleware, whatever you want to call it. Let's get rid of the elite groups of fat, rich white dudes that have sat in the middle of services and consumers, of business to business transactions since the beginning of time. If we get rid of the fat, rich white dudes, I apologize if you happen to be fat, rich, and white, but you're probably not watching this anyway. Because you're fat, rich, and white, you're an elite group, and you're probably deciding the fate of millions. Well, it turns out, historically speaking, that groups, small elite groups, are not maybe so good for society. So as those get obviated by software and tech, where does that leave everybody else? And then you start going, well, maybe, I don't know, some kind of universal basic income. Well, what does that mean? Okay, you hear this thing like coming out of the IMF and all that, like those creepy dudes that like shaved head, they look like Bond villains, and they're like, you'll own nothing and you'll like it. And at first that sounds haunting and gross and creepy. But if I've been thinking a lot about this lately, would it be so bad? Like, we don't own anything anyway, really. Do you own anything, Eric? Or are you just holding stuff that you're going to give away to other people that'll either keep it or squander it?
Crypto stuff, you mean?
Anything.
Yeah, I mean, I own some stuff.
In the chat, do you own anything in your life? Do you actually own anything? Purely own it.
I own this phone, Nick. I paid it off.
Food. AJ, you give the food back. That's gross, but you do.
Yeah.
Pants. All your clothes. When you die, are you going to light your clothes on fire? When you die, do they light all your stuff? Send it with him. Valhalla, fire the arrow. No, you're not going to have a Viking funeral.
Firearms.
You don't own anything in it. Think about it. When you pass on to the next phase of existence, what happens to all your stuff? Does he go with you? No, grateful granny, you don't own anything. You guys, we think we own stuff, but if you step back, we don't own anything. We hold some stuff for a little while and then we let it go. I mean, do you own your home? Not if they have property taxes. You don't own it. They get it back 1.5% a year. Most countries are at least honest about it. You can only own something for like 99 days. We don't own anything, nothing. And maybe that's not so bad. Maybe you don't have to. You go find, villagers and things like that live in jungles. You're like, oh, these silly, they like plants and they like to walk around, basically almost naked and like look at frogs and stuff. And they're so stupid. But maybe they're just more honest about the fact that they don't own anything and don't care to. So, man, I just think it might be important for us to kind of keep that in perspective, is this idea that maybe we don't have to just own all this stuff. But that's important because if you look at the future and you say, okay, what happens when the robots come and they're coming, right? Like AI is coming and you're looking at these assets. What if this is the last at bat that any of us have? Listen, the last asset class, like equities is an asset class, the bond market, real estate, those are asset classes. Digital assets is the new asset class. The last one was in like the late 1600s What is the chance you're going to see another one in your lifetime? Pretty minimal. So even if there are other asset classes, space rocks, I don't know, we're probably not going to see it unless we get into some advanced AI world with nanobots floating around in our bloodstream and all that. Maybe, but it's unlikely we're going to live to see another asset class. Even if we live to 200, there might not be another asset class for another 1,000 years. So if this is the last at bat, and you know you're in a market where the market is so tiny, it's less than 1% of 1% of the potential market size of crypto. Crypto right now, the whole market is less than 1% of 1% of the potential market. And you know that you can buy quality companies that are likely to be the infrastructure of whatever the future looks like. A future where there may be a line in the sand where entrepreneurs no longer exist because robots are doing it and software is doing it, where a caste system is formed and you don't have a choice. Then don't you think the last at bat is incredibly important? Eric?
Yes, it is very important, Nick. I'm just trying to follow everything, man. I mean, we went from the crypto review and it went into robots, Optimus Prime, and we're all over the place.
I wanted to go off of Benzo's question because when you're looking where to invest, that's a tricky question. But I think the question is more like, why should you be investing? Why should you even be spending any time in crypto?
I see.
Because you don't have a chance anywhere else. I'll say it. All these other markets are an effing waste of time. You don't own anything when you own equity. You guys know that, right? It's the lowest tier of the capital stack. First rights to dividends, last right on liquidation. You don't own anything. Even when you own something, you don't own anything. You own equity. I own Apple. No, you don't. Go down to Cupertino, try to walk in that front door. You're going to get stomped and hogtied. I own equity. You own nothing. Get out. Go buy another Apple Watch. Make us rich. You don't own anything. Even the things you think you own, you don't own. Legally, you don't own it. The only people that own anything are people that have senior debt. And then beneath that, junior debt. And then beneath that, preferred stock. And they barely own anything. You own equity, you own nothing. So, exactly, trading against robots. Good luck with that. Oh, I look at charts. Okay, good luck. Good luck. I go back to playing the video game against the robots. You lose every time, 100%. You lose before you even begin. So it's just infantile, asinine, and silly to think that we can, as humans, compete with the best versions of us operating with full uptime and no emotions. Oh, and access to everything that's ever happened ever in real time. Oh, but you're going to read your charts and you're going to compete. Get the truck out of here. So at a certain point, we have to all have this kind of like philosophical come to Jesus and say, well, what if this is the last at bat? I think this crypto space is the very last at bat. And Jim, I am moving on. I'm moving on to questions. But thank you. Everyone, we're moving on because Jim says we've made our point. Now that Jim's given us the all clear, we can continue.
Thank you, Jim. Well, I have two questions that I actually grabbed from the chat while we were talking here. They're both kind of the same. So from Fabiola and One Trade Away. Nick, how low do you believe Bitcoin will go? And the second question is, do you agree with Garrett that Bitcoin is going down to 15,000, Nick? What do you think?
Not only do I agree with Garrett, I over agree. I think Bitcoin could easily go below 10,000.
No.
You say, what the smoke? Well, if they dump 13, 14,000 Bitcoin onto the market that we know can't take that because this is an illiquid market, it's a tiny market. And this tiny market can't take that kind of a hit. It just can't. So depending on how those tokens from MT-GOX get distributed and hit the market, 15 would be easy. Look, we hit 17 a month and a half ago on nothing, on a 650 Bitcoin sale. So not only is Garrett right, Garrett is twice right. I think we could see, and again, this is right. No one has crypto ball. Yeah, well, we were at 20,000 yesterday, and if Garrett said 15, that's 5K. I think we could hit 10 or less. Now, would that sustain? Probably not, because also remember you have BlackRock coming in pretty heavy with an institutional product that's going to allow their super secret investors to get crypto. And BlackRock is not small. They're the opposite of small. And they're also not clean. They're the opposite of clean. They're dirty and shisty and scammy. So I thought, at first I thought, hey, maybe BlackRock will come in and buy all that Bitcoin. And then I thought, oh, wait, it's BlackRock. These are the same guys that basically stole government funds, COVID funds to buy up their junk bond ETF. And so you just go, well, how are they probably going to skin it? They'll probably short the snot out of it with as much leverage as possible, run it into the ground, and then buy up Bitcoin, while at the same time bankrupting MicroStrategies, getting Michael Saylor tarred and feathered and probably put in prison for tax evasion, all at the same time, and fill their coffers and make 50% on the upswing, and we'll be back at 20,000, and now BlackRock will be, full to the belly, like burping Bitcoin, is my guess.
So let's add to that question.
I'm not telling anyone to sell, because this could all play out in a matter of seconds.
That's what I was going to ask.
It could be fast, man. It could be fast. When Bitcoin hit like 3,800 something in 2020, when that crash happened, I think it was in March, but it was for a few seconds. It wasn't, you couldn't click fast enough to take advantage of it. If you didn't have orders in place and orders in high liquid exchanges, you didn't get filled. A lot of people had orders at 4,000, 3,500, 3,800, 3,900, 4,500. None of them got filled because it was like, boop, boop. And it was like 5,000 almost instantly. So could it go to 10,000, maybe even 9,000, 8,000? Sure, but that's going to be fast, and you're going to have a lot of people on the other side of it loading up just to dollar cost average. Institutions dollar cost average, just like we do. Next question.
Sure, next question. Yeah.
Has Jim given us the all clear on this question?
I'm sure Jim has. I'm sure Jim's a great guy. Just was really looking forward to the questions.
Don't assume he's a guy.
I think he is. I think I know Jim.
You can't pronoun assume. What if Jim is a they? What if they are not ready for us to move on?
I think Jim would want us to move on right now.
Jim, he, she, or they.
That, correct. So, Scott, the G, asks, what's up with DOT? I regret investing in it. Polkadot.
Don't regret, man. Listen, DOT is run by Gavin Wood. He's one of the smartest guys that was at Ethereum. He parties, man. I don't know what to tell you. He parties. So, I don't know what's up with DOT. I'm not sure that they make it. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not adding. It's of the protocols, to me, it's the least likely to succeed, but you never count out the guy that created basically smart contracts as we know it. There is no, at least there wouldn't be right now, smart contracts on Ethereum without Gavin Wood, Dr. Gavin Wood. There just wouldn't be smart. Matter of fact, this is the dude that coined the phrase Web3. He made up in a conversation. He was the one who coined the phrase Web3. So you don't count a guy like that out. It's just that they are not getting the uptake that we assumed that they would. All right, we got time for one more question.
No, I want you to tell us really quickly, Nick, what do you have planned for digital heavyweights? Give us a little bit of a quick insight in 30 seconds on what we're going to see in digital heavyweights next time you are there, for everyone that's not part of it yet.
Institutional client level access, portfolio insights, some real-time options ideas. We're not playing the options market much. We're mostly focused on how can we make the most amount of money over the next, say, month to 90 days, especially as it applies to the artificial intelligence space, where I think there could be some 100Xs or even 1,000X plays, which people are like, that's ridiculous. Is it? What would Nancy Pelosi do? Nancy Pelosi is probably already a digital heavyweight. I can't confirm or deny that, but there's a good chance that Nancy Pelosi is a digital heavyweight. He, she, or they. And on that note, we will see you tomorrow for Digital Heavyweights. And you can always reach out to us in the Discord 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything. My poor, insolvent, drunk, strung out on meth, grandmother, or Eric, or we got to include Brandon, or Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy'd have trouble. Actually, matter of fact, both of them have trouble. They could do it through a Ouija board, I suppose. We'll see you next time. Pew pew. Pew pew.